It was the 1960s. In the United States, a restaurant named McDonald's was gaining traction to become a fast food empire. During this decade of development, McDonald's franchisees were encouraged to come up with new and exciting menu items for their restaurants. These items, if proved successful, could be taken from the local to the national market. In 1962, the Filet-O-Fish was one of these new menu items, as well as the Big Mac that made its debut in 1967. Also, during the late 1960s, a McDonald's franchisee was working on a new item to release in his store. It would be a special minty green treat for St. Patrick's Day. This treat would eventually be known as the Shamrock Shake. This is the history of McDonald's, Chapter 14, the Shamrock Shake. The Shamrock Shake is a green minty flavored milkshake that McDonald's releases in celebration for the St. Patrick's Day holiday. Like the McRib, it's only available for a limited time. The Shamrock Shake is usually available from mid-February until St. Patrick's Day on March 17th. During this time, it's available in McDonald's locations in the United States, Canada, and Ireland. The shake has been around for over half a century now and has become a sure thing to always hit the menu every year during springtime. And after all of these years, there's quite a bit that this green shake has gone through. So let's start at the very beginning, even before McDonald's claimed the drink as their own. Now the name, the Shamrock Shake, can date back all the way to 1960. The evidence of this is from the Port Clinton, Ohio Daily News with a newspaper ad from June 16, 1960. A drive-in named Jim and Peggy's Carfeteria were advertising their new and delicious Shamrock milkshakes. As this was advertised in the middle of summer, this obviously had no ties to the St. Patrick's Day holiday. But just by name alone, this is one, if not the first mention of the name, the Shamrock Shake. A few more years later, in March 15, 1963, in the Longview Daily News in Longview, Washington, there was an ad for a restaurant called Cap'n Oyobi's. The ad featured an offer for a free Irish green milkshake during the 15th, 16th, and 17th of March. This ad is the first evidence of a green-colored milkshake being served at a restaurant in honor of St. Patrick's Day. And then 5 years later, March 16, 1967, a drive-in restaurant named Sandy's advertised a Shamrock Special Shake in the Gazette in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. And it was this year, 1967, when McDonald's got into the game. The origin of the McDonald's Shamrock Shake starts in the mid-1960s by McDonald's franchisee Hal Rosen. Harold Rosen, or Hal as people called him for short, was raised on and worked at his family's dairy plant in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. After high school, he attended college at Pennsylvania State University, where he graduated with a Bachelor of Science degree in food technology and specialization in dairy manufacturing. After college, Hal fell in love with a woman from Springfield, Massachusetts, and wound up moving to that area. Upon moving there, his first job was at the dairy company Seal Test. He went on to operating a frozen custard stand, then a restaurant, until he eventually opened up his first McDonald's in Enfield, Connecticut, a suburb of Springfield, Massachusetts. With his experience growing up in dairy manufacturing, he applied it to coming up with ideas for his McDonald's location in Enfield. In 1967, he was thinking of something fun in milkshake form for St. Patrick's Day. After going through a few different versions of recipes, Hal wound up mixing green food coloring, mint flavoring, all within a vanilla milkshake. And that's how the Shamrock Shake from McDonald's was born. The green color of the milkshake represents the country of Ireland, the origin of the St. Patrick's Day holiday. In Hal's own words, he stated, "It really didn't take that much." Originally called the St. Patrick's Day milkshake, it was first served at Hal's Enfield, Connecticut location. It was only available the day before and the day of St. Patrick's Day, 1967. The advertising for the first release of this shake was very tame. With just a few signs inside the store, leprechaun decorations, and the employees wearing bowler hats. The shake was met with huge success. So, St. Patrick's Day 1968, it was sold again in many other locations within the local area. Also, that same year in 1968, A&W root beer stands were selling a shake that was explicitly named the Shamrock Shake. And a side note, A&W has had a minty green shake out since, but now it's under the name the Grasshopper Shake. By 1969, the St. Patrick's Day milkshake was being sold in select locations all across the United States. And then also in 1969, there was a drive-in in Bismarck, North Dakota called the Autodine, which was giving away their own Shamrock Shake for St. Patrick's Day. Then in 1970, a big important year for the Shamrock Shake. After 3 successful years of regional markets selling the shake, McDonald's corporate officially added it to its menus in many more markets across the United States. And now, pause. We're going to stop at 1970 for a bit longer, as there are some things to sort out history-wise on the origins of the Shamrock Shake. Now, if you search online about the history of the Shamrock Shake, you will eventually read 2 stories of how the shake was invented. The first one, which is the correct story, which is officially on the McDonald's website, is that Harold Rosen did create it and started serving it in 1967. Now, there's a second story out there, which is false, and it's that it was created by Rogers Merchandising from Chicago in 1970. Now, why did this Rogers Merchandising origin story come to be? Rogers Merchandising out of Chicago, Illinois, specialized in promotions for big companies, from McDonald's to Burger King to even AT&T. And as they did work for McDonald's for promotions, they mistakenly got credit for creating the Shamrock Shake on a few websites. The claim lives on in plenty of food blogger news websites that have simply copy and pasted the history from another website with the Rogers Merchandising story. But nowhere does it state officially on any official website that Rogers Merchandising created the Shamrock Shake. Now, why is this mishap of them getting the credit in the first place? Well, around this time, 1970, Rogers Merchandising was involved with promoting the Shamrock Shake officially, and that is why they were given credit by default for creating the shake. And while we're on the subject, if you are to dig into the history of the Shamrock Shake, you're also going to come across claims that there was lime sherbet instead of mint in these early years of the shake. Now, there are precisely 0 newspaper articles or advertisements across the country at this time specifying that this happened. The only instance of a Shamrock Shake being made with lime sherbet comes from a newspaper recipe specifying lime sherbet as one of the ingredients in making a homemade Shamrock Shake. Now, as this recipe might have been a popular ingredient in homemade Shamrock Shakes, it was never used in a McDonald's Shamrock Shake. Okay, unpause. Back to 1970. McDonald's corporate added the St. Patrick's Day Shake to many menus in locations all across the United States. This first official year of the shake was crazy, as McDonald's corporate decided to take the mint flavoring out of the shake. This wound up making the St. Patrick's Day milkshake simply a vanilla milkshake with green food coloring. In 1971, it was official that the St. Patrick's Day milkshake was renamed the Shamrock Shake. The proof of this is from an ad from a Logansport newspaper which advertised the shake. It read that if anyone who visited McDonald's named Patrick or Patricia with a proof from an ID would receive a free green Shamrock Shake. Even without the mint flavoring, the Shamrock Shake saw more success as a fun, festive drink for the holiday. In 1972, a newspaper article from Ohio read, "McDonald's Shamrock Shakes. Just for the fun of it, sip a McDonald's Shamrock Shake. Green and whipped to triple thick goodness. It's a delicious treat just in time for St. Patrick's Day. So come on, try it. Take your whole family to McDonald's for our Shamrock Shakes." In 1973, the mint flavoring was finally added back into the shake, And evidence of mint returning is from a newspaper advertisement from Kenosha, Wisconsin, dated March 14th, 1973. And by this point, Shamrock Shakes were being sold in participating McDonald's locations from coast to coast in the U.S. In early 1974, Fred Hill, a football player for the Philadelphia Eagles, had a daughter who was battling leukemia. As Hill and his family wanted to stay close to his daughter while she went through treatments, they would camp out in the hospital's waiting rooms for days. As Hill did this, he would look around the hospital and he noticed that many other families in the same situation were doing the same thing. Hill wanted to change this, so he and his teammates got together and the Eagles general manager, Jim Murray, got involved. Murray called a friend of his who was in advertising for McDonald's to help raise funds. What they were raising funds for was a building for families of children who were visiting hospitals for treatment to stay at to no cost to the families. This place would run completely on donations. The plan was to raise funds on McDonald's next big promotion, which happened to be the Shamrock Shake promotion in March. So during the 1974 season of the Shamrock Shake, every sale of the shake had a portion of the money go to the cause. By the end of the promotion, they had raised up enough funds from so many sales of the Shamrock Shake that they were able to purchase a 4-story building in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. This building was then called the Ronald McDonald House, which this first house started the Ronald McDonald House charity. And every year since, a portion of sales from Shamrock Shakes have gone to this charity. By 1975, the Shamrock Shake had proven itself to have it introduced into television commercials. The first commercial featured Ronald McDonald along with Grimace, a large purple taste bud in McDonald land. This is when Grimace's uncle, Uncle O'Grimacy, the mascot for the Shamrock Shake, was introduced. Uncle O'Grimacy was green and furry, and he wore a green hat and vest decorated in shamrocks. His backstory was that he lived in Ireland and would visit his nephew Grimace every year for St. Patrick's Day, bringing along Shamrock Shakes. In 1977, the Uncle O'Grimacy balloon/hand puppet was made available, and this was essentially a plastic baggie in the shape of Uncle O'Grimacy that would first start off as a balloon, but if someone wanted to use it as a hand puppet, they could cut a line at the bottom of the bag, removing the neck of the balloon part. There were also green Uncle O'Grimacy rings given away as well. By the end of the 1970s, the Shamrock Shake was served in a majority of McDonald's restaurants in the United States and Canada. In 1980, McDonald's added a new Shamrock-style dessert to their menus. It was called the Shamrock Sundae. It was made up of vanilla soft serve, topped with green minty shamrock syrup. This new menu item failed miserably. The Shamrock Sundae had extremely low sales compared to the Shamrock Shake. McDonald's discontinued the Shamrock Sundae in the following years. This made 1980 the only year that the sundae was made available. Also in 1980, plastic Uncle O'Grimacy cups were given away to people who ordered a Shamrock Shake. By the early to mid-1980s, the character of Uncle O'Grimacy was phased out. Now, there is a rumor as to why Uncle O'Grimacy was phased out. The rumor is that there was a person wearing an Uncle O'Grimacy costume during a promotional event and said some things that tied the man playing Uncle O'Grimacy to the IRA. Now, this is false as well, and it's all rumors. Now, realistically, McDonald's just didn't want to continue with a mascot for the Shamrock Shake. And now we get into the 1990s. And if you do search the history of the Shamrock Shake, there's going to be many places that will claim that the shake was completely gone from McDonald's menus during the 90s. Well, I could say from my own memories and looking through newspapers, this is also another false claim that's floating around online. The Shamrock Shake was always available throughout the 1990s. It might have seemed like it was gone to some, as availability of the shake varied by every location, but it was still there. The Shamrock Shake made it through Y2K unscathed, and the 2000s, it was being seen every year early spring. Throughout the 2000s, it was seen as the typical seasonal menu item. No big extra changes. all was calm and well. In 2010, the world's largest Shamrock Shake, and I say that with air quotes, was leaned on its side, made it to look like it dumped all the shake into the Chicago River. It was a 24-foot tall plastic cup that contained a green cloth that was then poured beside the Chicago River, making it look like it turned it green. Realistically, in 1961, the river was first turned green from environmentally friendly dyes to check for leaky pipes. Everyone who saw this thought it looked cool, so the next year they did it again and continued the tradition with dyeing the river green in celebration for St. Patrick's Day. McDonald's felt that this was a great way to tie in the Shamrock Shake and honor a $10,000 donation to start development for a new Ronald McDonald House. In 2011, this Green River stunt happened again, with the Shamrock Shake now being toted on a boat and being poured into the river. By this point, the Shamrock Shakes were now served in a clear plastic cup instead of the wax paper cups. They were also revamped to have whipped cream with a cherry on top. In 2012, after it being in only participating locations, it was finally official that the Shamrock Shake was available nationwide in every single McDonald's restaurant in the United States. 2017 was a big year for the Shamrock Shake. It was the year for the Shamrock Shake to get a full lineup of Shamrock-themed drinks. McDonald's called the 2017 Shamrock Shake season Shamrock Chocolate Madness. This featured the original Shamrock Shake, along with 4 new chocolate Shamrock drinks: the Shamrock Chocolate Chip Frappe, the Chocolate Shamrock Shake, the Shamrock Hot Chocolate, and the Shamrock Mocha. And that was not all. Also in 2017, McDonald's introduced a very limited edition straw customers could use to drink the new chocolate Shamrock Shake. It was called the Straw, short for Suction Tube for Reverse Axial Withdrawal. There were only 2,000 of these straws made and only given out at certain McDonald's locations. The straw was designed by top engineers, and it was in the shape of the letter J, which made the customers get equal amounts of chocolate and mint in each sip. This was the only year that the straw or the 4 chocolate Shamrock drinks were officially available. And then in 2017, we go over to Ireland, which McDonald's made a huge advertising mistake. McDonald's posted on their Twitter page, quote, "When your Shamrock Chocolate Madness plays all the right chocolatey mint notes." The quote had a 10-second video attached to it, which showed a man with a red beard sipping on a shake with 3 larger straws poking from it. This was to make it look like he was playing a bagpipe with his chocolate Shamrock Shake. Now, along with this video, Stonehenge was behind him. Now, as bagpipes are Scottish and Stonehenge is in England, this got many Irish people upset over the lack of geographical correctness with relating to Ireland. How McDonald's resolved this problem was that they simply deleted the tweet. By 2018, only Shamrock Shakes came back with no more cherries on top. In 2019, Shamrock Shakes were available during the usual season, but they were also available in September in Philadelphia. This was to commemorate the beginning of the Eagles' NFL season. It came back in this rare out-of-season instance, and it was called the Eagles' Favorite Shake. In February 2020, for the Shamrock Shake's official 50th anniversary, the Oreo Shamrock McFlurry debuted. It's a mix of McDonald's vanilla ice cream, along with crumbled Oreo cookies and green mint shamrock syrup. Also during 2020, McDonald's revealed the Golden Shamrock Shake. This was a Shamrock Shake cup that was made of 18-karat gold and encrusted with yellow diamonds that made up the golden arches. There were also white diamonds and emeralds circling the bottom and the top rim of the cup. There were 2 of these Golden Shamrock Shake cups available, and they were estimated to be $90,000 each. One was put up on the online auction site eBay, to where all of the money made from the auction would be given to the Ronald McDonald House. The second cup would go to one lucky winner from a drawing from everyone who ordered a Shamrock Shake or an Oreo Shamrock McFlurry through the McDonald's mobile app. Also, at some point in 2020, Travis Scott and McDonald's collaborated to make Shamrock Shake shorts. They were made available on the Cactus Jack website for $75, and they were totally not worth it. From 2021 to 2023, the Oreo Shamrock McFlurry returned once again next to the Shamrock Shake. And even though these past few years, nothing has been too crazy with the Shamrock Shake, it's definitely a welcome treat to see come back every year. From the middle of February through March, the Shamrock Shake has definitely become what McDonald's claims it is, the first green of spring. And after its name and flavor changes, false origin stories, expensive cups, overly engineered straws, and anticipation every year for its return, the minty green substance that McDonald's calls the Shamrock Shake has become one of the greatest things to look forward to at the beginning of every year. Unless you don't like mint. This has been the History of McDonald's, Chapter 14, The History of the Shamrock Shake.